Yeah, right. You're usually about walking up the stairs right now. Good evening. I'd like to call our meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. The clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Fountain?
Here.
Treasurer Horning?
Here.
Clerk Chofew? Here. Trustee Collier?
Here.
Trustee Germain?
Here.
Trustee Harper?
Here.
Trustee Petrucci?
Here.
Thank you. Item number 4 is approval of our agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Petrucci. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Anybody call to the public this evening? Nobody at call to the public. Thank you. I will move on to item number 6, which is approval of our consent agenda.
Move. Support.
Motion by Trustee Petrucci, second by Trustee Kalani.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to have item 6H removed from the consent agenda and move to 8D.
Thank you. You still support that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have 2 applicants this evening. First one is site plan with special land use application number 20-009. It's an undercoating business. Is anybody here this evening? Would you like to come forward, please? If you'd like to sit right here, that would be fine. Welcome. I'm going to turn this over to Trustee Kalani. He's on our planning commission. And just give a quick review. This is on Bergen Road, correct?
Yes.
It's an undercoating.
Yes.
I read the information, but it said eco-friendly. It's not oil-based. It must be some new technology for undercoating.
Yes.
Okay. So, Joe, if you want to give the review.
Sure, this is a site plan. This is, before you is a site plan with a special land use application. The number is 20-009. It's an undercoating business. It's going to be located at the Heartland Commerce Center, which is the site condominium off Bergen Road, business condominiums. Anyway, the Planning Commission approved this, recommended approval of this special land use application at its regular meeting. I think it was actually earlier part of the September. It wasn't on our meeting 2 weeks ago. So in any case, they comply with the intent and purpose of our ordinance. Oops, something happened there. Hold on here. They meet the requirements of our site plan, our ordinance, and therefore it's compatible with the existing future land uses in the vicinity. It's compatible with the Heartland Township Comprehensive Plan. It's going to be located, as I said, in an established development, the Heartland Commerce Center, and the proposed use will not be detrimental, hazardous, or disturbing to the existing or future neighboring uses, persons, or public or welfare. And it doesn't create any additional requirements of public costs for public facilities as the Commerce Center, where the proposed business is located, is currently served by public sewer and a private well. So the recommendation from the Planning Commission was to approve the special land use subject to, of course, the Township Board's approval, and that the applicant adequately address the outstanding items noted in the Planning Department's memorandum dated September 3rd. The land use is, a land use permit is required for the proposed land use, and applicant complies with the requirements of the Department of Public Works, the Township Engineering Consultant, Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority, and all other government agencies. So That was the recommendation and approved by the planning.
Was that a motion?
I'll make that motion, sure.
Okay. Support?
Support.
A motion by Kalani, second by Harper. Any questions?
Yeah, at the Planning Commission meeting, there was a little uncertainty about the pollution incident prevention plan, whether that was done or will be done.
It will be
Is there
done,
any
yeah.
update on that status?
Yeah, it'll be done. I'm working on it right now with
Okay, so it's still being
Jennifer
worked on.
Whitbeck, yep.
Okay.
Sir, we typically don't take questions from the audience, but I will allow it if you have a question.
It's not really a question. We're the adjacent landowner, unit owners. Wally Haley, for the record, Haley Law Firm. I own the building with my partner, TJ Garrett, who's, quite honestly, she's undergoing chemotherapy. So we're a little more conscious of adverse effects. So we don't want to be NIMBYs. We wish him the best of luck. But he's represented two things before the Planning Commission that we would respectfully ask to become part of any motion that the Planning Commission or that the board makes. And that one is he has represented that this NH oil is non-toxic, environmentally friendly, and that the special use be conditioned upon his use of that oil, okay? That he can't go running around and changing to some other kind of more toxic or, rust-proofing kind of environment. And two, he's represented that the application will be by hand pump sprayers rather than compressed air, which will vaporize more spray. And so we would respectfully ask this board to add those two conditions, and he's represented that before the Planning Commission and in all his submittals. So we would ask that those be added. And beyond that, I wish him the best of luck.
Joe, did you guys,
Yes, they talked about groundwater protection. The applicant is, as Clerk Chofie mentioned, a PPP, which is a pollution prevention plan that needs to be submitted as part of the program. I don't know if we can specify his mode of production, though. We can require that he have a pollution protection plan, and we can argue, we can require him under our ordinance, but in terms of specifying how he does his business, I'm not so sure we can require that.
Or we change the motion from Troy, the
Right.
Planning Commission.
But I'll leave it to anybody else that has any questions on that. Or
could you make
concerns.
that part of the PPP?
That is already, yes, that's, shoot, I'm losing every time I touch this thing, it's moving. Hold on here. There we go.
Sir, would you be willing to put that language in your PPP?
Which language are you,
Well, just what the gentleman was stating, that you put it on with a hand pump versus the application process for
yeah,
the product itself?
the pump that I use is it's a pump, basically like a paint sprayer pump, like a house pump sprayer.
Right.
That's
So I
kind of
think
how
the
it is
gentleman was
versus
just
air.
asking that if it's reasonable, if you could add that to your PPP.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then what was
absolutely.
the other one? Sir, I'm sorry.
Just that his product that he's represented, the NH oil, is toxic-free, environmentally safe, and animal-based product. That's his words, not mine. That, that his PPP or whatever you're talking about be conditioned upon his use of that product for a similar environmentally friendly product. That he just can't go back and start spraying Z-Bark, kind of the old rust proofing, just because he's got a special use.
And again, sir, would you be willing to put that as part of your PPP, that's
Yeah,
the product that
absolutely.
you're going to use? Okay. Would that satisfy? Anybody else have any comments on that?
No, I'll go with Troy's motion. I mean, they cover all that in the Planning
Okay.
Commission.
That's correct.
So, Adam, is there any other questions for the applicant? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Welcome to Heartland, and best of luck.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Item number 7B is site plan application number 20-10, and it's for a new drive-through service at Big B. Is there somebody here? Good evening, and welcome. If you'd like to state your names just real quickly and I'm going to turn this over to Trustee Kalani, as you may have met him at the Planning Commission then.
Yes.
You were there.
Kent and Chris Kilday, the operators.
Haven't you had them removing their people at home cannot hear?
Yeah, so you are on TV, as you may know or not know, but
Oh.
you are. And it's broadcast all over the world. So, the local internet one isn't working, but the one that's, someplace all over. But if you could just speak into the microphone if it's appropriate.
Okay.
Just so people can hear you.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
So
Go
this
ahead,
is
Joe.
site plan with a special land use application 20-010, provides for a drive-through service for Big B Coffee. This came before the Planning Commission about a week and a half ago, Thursday, and was unanimously approved. The location of the drive-through will be on the far west end of the building. It will remove the parking that is currently located there, but there's sufficient parking on site with respect to this use. I think we talked a little bit about it, the idea of having one of the handicap spaces moved. I think at one point we talked a little bit about that.
Yes.
Other than that, it was unanimously approved. There's really nothing much more. I think this is an improvement to I'm surprised they hadn't come back through much sooner than this to get a drive-through, because that's what people prefer, especially in the morning. So I will make a motion to approve site plan special land use application number 20-010, a request to establish drive-through service as a special land use at 11325 Highland Road in Heartland Point Plaza. The recommendation for approval is based on the findings set forth in the memorandum that was provided to the board. The approval is subject to the applicant adequately addressing the outstanding items noted in the Planning Department's memorandum dated September 17, 2020. Revise those plans if necessary, shall be subject to an administrative review by the planning staff prior to the issuance of a land use permit. 3, a land use permit is required for the proposed special land use. Applicant complies with all the requirements of the Department of Public Works, Township Engineering, Heartland Deerfield, Fire Authority, and other governmental agencies.
Motion by Trustee Kalani, second by Trustee Petrucci. Any questions for the applicant?
In the Planning Commission meeting, they had a kind of a little bit of uncertainty on the handicap, additional handicap, and moving them to a certain spot, like across the parking lot from the entrance. Is that the plan that you still plan to go with, or were you looking at something different than that?
That is the plan that the landlord would prefer. We're one of multiple tenants in
Right.
that space. The two that they're talking about are on that west side of the building. I'm uncertain if they've ever been used, to be honest, with where they're located.
There's still two.
And there's two on the front of the building
Right.
center.
Yes.
And they'd like to have the two, they want to put the two immediate, how would you say that? It'd be on the south,
It's directly across.
directly across from those two. So if they were ever utilized, which that's still up to debate whether they'll be, that they would come right straight to that ramp. It would give them the closest access to all the doors for, whomever.
Okay.
Because they're not necessarily going to Bigby, obviously. They could be going to any.
Thank you.
So what was discussed a little bit along those lines is that the state may have some other requirements.
Yes.
Our planning commission did not specifically require them to meet the state requirements, but if the state comes in and says you have to add additional handicap spots, you would be required to do so.
Right. And I had spoke also with the landlord concerning that. They said, hey, if it ever comes up and we have to deal with it, then obviously it's basically restriping and putting them in a different spot.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Welcome to Heartland. Well, you're here in Heartland, but welcome to the drive-through business.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a great day. Thank you. Item number 8A is a transfer of 590 to 595 and Treasurer Horning. This is sewer bond payment?
Right, this is just, we follow the Boyle model every year for this, and it's a transfer of $1,560,000 to cover the bond payments and the chargeback owed to the county eventually when we buy the property at the sale. So I'll move to approve the transfer of funds from 590 sewer O&M to 595 sewer expansion for bond payments per the adopted fiscal year 21 budget.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Harper. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 8B is the replacement of the digital signage system. Bob, did you want to take this?
Yeah,
this one
absolutely.
on?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The township's current local access cable channel has been broken for some time. It's a bit archaic. We purchased the equipment over 10 years ago, and it's been consistently repaired, updated. It's to the point where it's no longer serviceable. There's certainly new technology out there. What we've proposed here is a more user-friendly system to not have to call in contractors to give us so many different updates and help us get messages out to the public via our local cable access channel. The fee for this is not to exceed, the proposal, I should say, is $11,650. It does have a slight contingency into it because we're not sure if there's certain cables or something that may be required to incorporate it. Ultimately, with this computer system that we have in this boardroom, this is a low to mid-level, I would say, option compared to what's on the market today. This will be funded from our PEG fund, which is our franchise fees from our cable company. And it does include it does have a monthly fee of $29 per month for the hosting in the cloud service, as well as a $1,700 fee for 3 years worth of 24-hour service. Now, historically, when this system breaks, it doesn't break during business hours. It's usually right before a meeting or during a meeting, something of that nature. We have already spent on repairs and maintenance on an annual basis beyond what we're recommending in the maintenance contract on our old system, because you pay per call. So this is the most fiscally advantageous product or proposal that we were able to secure, and I'm recommending the approval for it. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. I tried to not dive too deep into it, but it will include all new equipment in the back room.
I'll move to approve the budget amendment and proposal from AVI-SPL for the replacement of the township digital signage system not to exceed $11,650.
Support, but I do have a question.
Okay, I got a motion by Treasurer Horning and second by Trustee Germain. And your question?
My question is, if the money is already in the PEG fund, why do we have to have a budget amendment?
In theory, we don't necessarily budget for, let me rephrase it, this was not part of the approved budget. So it's not line item in the PEG fund. While there is a fund balance, any expenditures that were not included in the actual approved budget by the Township Board would have to come forth for a budget amendment.
And I think the other one would be the amount. I think anything over 10,000 has to come in front of the board. I think that's what our policy is.
Okay, and then the second question, and I think I know the answer, the $11,650, does that include the monthly charge or not?
Yes, that does include the monthly charge as well as the maintenance agreement portion of that.
Okay, so we're not going to be spending all that money initially?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Will this contract, the maintenance contract, run for a year from today, or is it going to, like, end at our fiscal year, or?
So the maintenance contract would begin upon us signing off on the equipment installation, and from there it would be 3 years out.
All 3 years.
Yeah, so, and the 1,700 is for all 3 years, to be fair. So
Okay.
currently, when we call for any sort of service on that system, there is a minimum 4 hours call. Our system is antiquated, takes a lot longer to track parts down. We've spent well in excess of $1,000 per year just to maintain what we have. And that's just in parts. That's not including the service calls. So this is definitely a better service. The cloud-based system brings down the 24-hour call cost because they can simply log in from home and repair our system or provide us service.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, we got the motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number C is a resolution that we talked about this a little bit at the admin meeting. If you recall, in May, we were proactive trying to do what we could for restaurants when it came to additional seating. We had 3 businesses in our community take advantage of that. The Michigan Liquor Control Commission has allowed folks that have expanded their footprint to actually have those areas become permanent, which is really highly unlike the Michigan Liquor Control Commission, so I commend them on being proactive for our restaurants. So we talked about this at our admin meeting, and there is a fee typically of $1,200 for an applicant. And we talked with one of the restaurants. Basically, they just want to put in and expand a wrought iron fence adjacent to their building, adjacent to their existing outside seating. They made a comment that this may actually increase their ability to serve guests to the amount of potentially even 10% of their business. As we all know, the restaurants have struggled, and basically we have a resolution making a recommendation that we waive that $1,200 fee. The applicant will still have to go through the Planning Commission through the process, but we would just waive the fee. We just felt that this would be a way for us to take those applicants that have taken advantage of what's there. And this would not include anybody unless they had a Class C liquor license and have gone through the preliminary proposal of us extending their footprint. This would not include somebody that wanted to go into their parking lot or want to actually build something that would have a building permit needed. This is just for outdoor seating, typically in a sidewalk area like where there currently are by Red Olive. And I think the other one is the brewery, and then there's another restaurant that have some additional expansion out there. But again, the Liquor Control Commission is allowing that to be permanent. As you recall, we talked about having ours sunset when the restrictions for the COVID were over, but this would go into perpetuality. And again, we're just, the recommendation from us would be that we waive the $1,200 fee.
And they have to apply to the Liquor Control Commission by November 30th.
Yeah, that's why it
It's not
kind of
like
got fast-tracked, because they put
Has to happen.
pretty stringent timeline for them to get back.
And for a little further clarification, some of the temporary allowances by the township included some temporary structures, if you will. This application process would require them to become permanent structures and go through the formal site plan process. Generally speaking, the applicants are not that far away. Nobody really erected, most of them erected semi-permanent structures anyway, so it's a very short jump to get to that permanent classification. So I just, for the folks at home, these aren't temporary structures or anything going up of that nature.
I'll move to approve the resolution authorizing a temporary amendment to the township's fee schedule for certain site plan applications.
Support.
A motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Kalani. Is there any other discussion? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Hang on a second. Where did it go? Trustee Petrucci?
Yes.
Clerk Chofu? Yes. Trustee Germain?
Yes.
Trustee Collier?
Yes.
Supervisor Fountain?
Yes.
Treasurer Horning?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Thank you. And then we moved item number 6H, the resolution for Heartland Robotics Boosters Charitable Gaming License, to item number D. Basically, the robotics team is looking to have some type of a raffle in the future. The state of Michigan is allowing them 18 months. They don't have a date yet, but part of the process is they need to get a permission from the township via a resolution. So with that, I'd entertain a motion for the Heartland Robotics Boosters Charitable Gaming License.
I'll move resolution to allow Heartland Robotics Boosters charitable gaming license.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Harper, second by Trustee Germain. Any questions? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Treasurer Horning?
Yes.
Trustee Collier?
Yes.
Supervisor Fountain?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Petrucci?
Yes.
Trustee Germain?
Yes.
And Clerk Chofu, yes.
Thank you. And then we'll go into board reports. We start this evening with Clerk Shofu.
Just a brief update on the election. We have sent out over 5,000 absentee ballots. We have already gotten back around 1,000, so they're coming back very quickly. We continue to process both incoming and outgoing.
Thank you. Treasurer Horning.
This Saturday's the last farmer's market. Well, they'll continue on up through the end of the month, possibly if the weather's good, but we stopped charging as of this week because the weather's so uncertain. But there's squash, pumpkins, eggs, plants. It's really a great place to go support our local farmers and artisans.
Thank you. Trustee Kalani.
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Trustee Germain.
No report.
Trustee Harper.
No report.
Trustee Petrucci.
No report.
And I have nothing this evening. Any other final comments before we take a brief recess?
Just call it the gigglers. Grab a dozen eggs.
Take a brief recess, and we have just two things this evening, manager's report and a water system update as well. So we'll take a few seconds here, and
Should we charge
We stay in
$4
here.
a dozen?
yeah, we'll stay in here.
Which is a little expensive, but fresh eggs. So, how much by three? Three? Yeah, I think the last time we were in there was $4. And in the Edie's or whatever the brand is, it's in the white. At Myers, I think it's $3.20. So I'm paying 80 cents more for
Fresh. You know where they came from.
Well, it's really